Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says,
"Hey dude, you too must be from Marin."
Marin County's A-OK, from Tampa, Stinson, all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. The Dennis, Dylan, and NW.
Hey there, basketball and podcast fans. It's Duffy from the Run TMC podcast. Before we start this episode, Dave and I have an important message. There are sponsorship packages available now for season 4, starting in fall of 2026. Yes, season 4 of the Run TMC podcast in the fall of 2026. Until June 15th, packages are as low as $99 for 4 episodes or $499 for the entire season 4. To find out more, click on the link in the show notes or send us an email at the Run TMC podcast at gmail.com. That's all one word, the Run TMC podcast at gmail.com, or hit up my buddy Dave on Instagram. We hope to hear from you soon. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run, the Marin County podcast about the wonderful, the joyous, the amazing sport of basketball, based right here in Marin County, California, where we are deep into spring and it is still green, but the weather is warm. The days are long. Great time of year to be right here in Marin County. So I'm Duffy Ballard, and this is season 3, episode 24 of the Run TMC podcast. And we're going to get right into the episode. But first, thank you to our sponsors, The Hub in San Anselmo at Red Hill Shopping Center, Encore Custom in San Rafael and on the web, The Social Club, that is the Social Club with a K in Sausalito, and Batiste Rum. You can find Batiste Rum on the web and at your favorite liquor store or restaurant. Go ahead and ask for it. So this is a fun episode, Dave. We have another roundtable. This is, I believe, our 3rd player roundtable, and this was a great one. This one is near and dear to my heart because we have a topic that we hit on quite a bit that is special to me, and that is Division III basketball at the college level. And then we also have 3 players who had the great privilege of coaching this past season. 3 players from Marin Catholic, all juniors, all amazing players that are looking to play at the next level, and all who are coming back for what I imagine will be a really sensational senior year. So anyway, Dave, I'm going to turn it over to you for further introduction.
Thank you, Duff. Hello, Run TMC. Welcome to another fun roundtable. Yet again, though, we were at a square table, a rectangle. So, Tony Butler, thank you for your observation in our first roundtable on that point. But yeah, this was a great conversation with 3 really bright high school basketball players, students, and humans. And it was fun to get some Marin Catholic insights, playing for the great Duffy Ballard and obviously our friend Kevin Vasquez. Oliver Myers, Bentley Morrow, and Jack Herman were kind enough to join us after school. And we had a great conversation with them about playing for Kevin and Duffy and Marin Catholic high school basketball, but then also spent a lot of time discussing the recruiting process, as these 3 students are all entering their senior year of high school, and they are all being actively recruited by D3 programs, and they've all expressed an interest in exploring that route. So a topic we've covered a lot over the last couple of years in our almost 100 episodes. Echoes of, well, first of all, Spencer Spivey, a more recent one that was an awesome interview, awesome discussion with just a super bright guy who from university, high school, great player who went on to play at Williams. And as we talked about, created a documentary, Sideline Story, which highly recommend you watching. It's a kind of a year in the life of a Division III basketball program. But also, David Liss, our friend from Branson, who walked on at Cal and was getting time at Cal for Ben Braun, but decided to transfer to Pomona to have kind of a better, work-life balance and be able to pursue his major and just be more of a student. And he had a great career on the Division III level at Pomona. And there are countless other examples. So I thought this was a fun glimpse into the mindset of three really high-level players. And if you haven't seen Oliver, Bentley, and Jack play, highly recommend you check out Marin Catholic next year. These three kids all can go. Oliver is an incredible shooter. Bentley is 6'4", can handle the ball, kind of do everything. And Jack is one of the smoothest guys on the court that I've seen in a long time. He's just beautiful to watch. So three really good players. And as you can see in this interview, three just really good kids. So hope you enjoy it. Duffy, great job putting this together. And enjoy this interview with Oliver, Bentley, and Jack. Thanks. Okay, we're going. We're very excited to have another player roundtable with three outstanding players from a small school called Marin Catholic. Duffy, have you heard of this school?
I've heard of the school. I believe they won a few titles this past season.
Just a few. Let's have our fabulous players introduce themselves in order of where they're sitting relative to me.
Okay, I'm Oliver Myers, just finishing out my junior year at Marin Catholic.
I'm Bentley Morrow. I'm also finishing up my junior year.
I'm Jack Herman. I'm also finishing my junior year.
Okay, now I want you to go back around and give us your favorite basketball player. You can't say yourself.
Besides myself, of course. My favorite basketball player right now is Con Knippel.
I love it. Playing off 2 feet.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
My favorite to watch is probably still Steph Curry. Yeah.
Yeah, right now it's like overall Steph Curry, but like specifically right now, I'd say probably Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle.
All right. Two guys still alive in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Harper's been a freaking great rookie.
Yeah.
He's been awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you guys are all really fun players to watch. It's been awesome to see you guys develop over the years. Was a huge fan of your team this year. Obviously friends with your assistant coach who's sitting across the table from me and your head coach, Kevin. You guys played up-tempo, this fun brand of basketball. So it begs the question of pregame. What are your pregame routines? Like, how do you get ready for a game? And particularly on your team where you guys are going to be freaking going from the get-go, sprinting up and down the court, playing very fast pace. So how do you get ready for that mentally? Ollie, why don't you start?
Well, I always stretch about like 15, 20 minutes before games. I like to get loose. I like to jog a little bit around in the locker room. I love listening to music before games, but really just like visualizing success on the court, like, instilling confidence in myself just to go out there and like do what we do in practice every single day.
What's your pregame meal strategy?
About like 2 hours before the game, I like eating like an English muffin with peanut butter, banana, and honey on it.
Healthy.
Protein.
Some carbs, some protein.
Potassium as well.
I like it. Bentley, what do you got?
So right after school, before pregame, I usually sleep for a good amount of time before I have to stretch when I'm at my house. And then I usually try and get to the game an hour and a half before, or maybe a little bit less than that. And I stretch, go to Jamie, our trainer, and just do as much stretching as I can so I can perform the best.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jack?
Well, I'd probably say like a similar thing. After school, I'll usually go home and maybe if I'm tired, like take a nap, and then probably get for food, maybe like some fruits or like an acai bowl I sometimes get.
Yep.
And then I'll try and get some like form shots up at my house just to make sure like I'm good and just like stop thinking about the game so much and just kind of like be in my flow. And then like I'll go to the gym and try and get some early shots up if that's available. So yeah.
Quick shout out to Jamie, who is retiring after 25 years as athletic trainer at Marin Catholic. So moving on to something new. So good for her. I have a question about prep, and that is the way Marin Catholic played this year was 8 to 10 possessions going as hard as you can, and then you're coming out, and then you're sitting for 8 to 10. Was there any way you prepared for that differently than any season or team you played on before? Because it was very different than anything I'd coached before. So maybe you had a different preparation approach to it.
Not necessarily, but I will say, like, sometimes, you start off a game and, like, you'll be in there for like 7 or 8 minutes and you kind of can like ease into the flow of it. As in, like, for this season, you kind of knew, like, okay, I got my like 2-3 minutes and like I'm already like, once the game starts, like I'm fully in it. And so just like through warm-ups and everything, like you got to be 100% ready, like right when tip-off starts. So, yeah.
And you specifically have to be ready to shoot threes about 4 seconds into the game
Yes.
from the corner.
So shoot as many free game shots as possible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask you guys this. Bentley, let's start with you. So you guys get so many shots up in a game. I mean, it's a volume strategy, right? Kevin's strategy is more. You want more possessions. Sometimes you're willing to give up buckets because you guys want to just have more possessions and outscore teams. How do you come into a game ready to put the ball in the basket? Like, I would be stressed out about getting enough shots up before the game. How do you do that? Like, do you get shots up during the day, like Jack mentioned?
Mostly just mostly the night before, or, we shoot so many shots in practice, you really don't think about it. Like, we all split up based on our certain skill sets or what positions we're supposed to run to. Ollie Jack to the corner, me and Joe running the ball up to the court, either shooting like a pull up or something, and that's usually what our pregame shots look like. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just moving off that. I think in practice we get a lot of shots up, so I don't think it's a problem for us with like confidence in our shots, because I know we shoot probably, for me and Ollie, sprint to the corners about like 50 times, and then we do like other certain shots from the wings. And then I'd say just for like getting ready, like for other teams, I really don't like coming to the game, like tip off, I'm like sprinting right away. Yeah. So with this team, it's different because right when tip off, I'm like, oh, first shot goes in for the other team, sprint to the corner. So I have to just make sure like properly stretched, like legs are ready, and not just like kind of walking in warm ups. So your body's like ready for that, just like right out of the gate, just sprint and stuff like that.
Just wait till you hit your 40s, Jack. You're going to have to stretch a hell of a lot for a game. How do you guys process scouting reports? Like, what do you want? A lot of detail on who you're playing and their tendencies, or not a lot? Do you want to focus on you? How do you balance that? Jack, you start.
Yeah, I would just say for us, when we play like teams around MCAL, I think we pretty much know the scouting reports before, because we just like, we played these guys for about like our whole basketball career. So I'd say like less detail is good, because I think we all know like the other players' like skill set. But if it's like a team from, say, the East Bay, I think it's good to have detail in our scouting report. So say, oh, I'm guarding this certain dude, like I can just look at the scouting report and see, oh, these are his tendencies. And I can go down the list and then prepare for that, instead of just like vague, like, oh, he's a wing. Like I think it's good to have a detailed scouting report. But yeah, that's basically
cool.
It.
Yeah,
I agree. Like most of the teams we played this year, I already knew the players from previous experiences, and I feel like that helps more than obviously a scouting report. But when I did not know the player, Kevin really was good at splitting up the players like in the different sections in huddle based on who you're guarding or whatever. Like he would give us clips on what they usually do, so that's easier for us to read when we read the scouting report on our own time.
Yep.
Yeah, and then more than just like players specifically, like the coaches would show us like how teams play together, which was also really helpful. You can see like kind of how a team is coached, like, what things their coach wants them to do versus doesn't want them to do. And it's nice going into a game knowing that as well, along with player like specifics.
That's a great point. That this is always a struggle for coaches, is we have so much information in our heads and we love this stuff. So we scout and nerd out, and we want to tell you guys about 8 pages worth of stuff, but we know that it's going to go in one ear and out the other, because sometimes teams, you guys have trouble sometimes even remembering your own plays, right? So how are you going to remember the other team's plays? But do you find that it's effective for, like, for example, okay, here's what they run on an out of bounds play.
Yeah.
Is that useful?
Yeah.
And do you find that you've like been able to kind of defend effectively due to a scout
On out of bounds plays?
on out of bounds plays or on, offensive actions?
Well, we would usually run something that no other team would be able to know. So, I mean, they usually wouldn't run plays against us off inbounds because the 1-3-1 we would usually implement kind of affected that. So they wouldn't really be able to run in unless they scouted us beforehand.
You should try it. You should try it.
Duffy and I were literally talking about this the other day. Nice. That's great. Okay. So now we've talked about pregame, we've talked about scouting. How about let's get to postgame and then we'll talk about in-game stuff. So postgame, what do you want postgame from your coaches? Do you want a postgame talk, win or lose? Do you want to just get out of there? Do you want to forget about the game? Do you want to go watch video right away? How do you process postgame?
You want to go? I can go. I'm just like, I would say if it's a loss, I don't think I would try and watch film like the same night. Usually just like kind of think about like what I did wrong other than like, and not watch the film. And then maybe like a day or two after watch the film if it's with like coach giving me comments or like me just watching it personally. And then for a win, I'd say like it's always great to have a talk after a win, even if it's like just all good stuff and not really bad stuff. But I mean, I just think like post game, not really getting in your head about too much. Like if I watch film, I'll see like, oh, I did that wrong. I just don't think that's really helpful for me, except like I just think thinking's good for me. Like that's basically what I would say.
That's great.
Post game after a loss, I think mostly came from us underestimating our opponents. Usually, I mean, most of our losses came from that.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's what basically every post game talk was, is you can't underestimate your opponent no matter who it was. And usually right after a game, win or loss, I'd try and watch film right as it comes out and just see what I could do better and what I did good so I can focus on the next time.
Yeah. I think it's always good to have a talk after the game, like just to dissect it, win or lose, even if it's like an ugly win or bad loss. Like always get feedback, I think is really important. I'll usually go over games like the next day. I don't love watching it the night of. I like just like clearing my mind and like not overthinking about everything. But yeah.
So you three are going to be team captains next season, and you may be starting to think about how you will sort of communicate to your teammates. What do you like in terms of a leader on the team, so a team captain this year, and what they may or may not say to you after the game? What's the best way for a team captain to communicate?
I think it's important to like pick everyone up because like no matter the game, even if we win and we have a big win, like someone's always not going to be like satisfied with how they played or what they did, or someone's always going to be overthinking something. And so I think like you really just got to be there for your teammates is the most important thing. And then I think everything after that kind of follows, but that's just me personally.
This year, I think we were so connected that we would never bring each other down. And even if we did bring each other down, we knew it wasn't personal and we all like loved each other. Like I've never had a team that's been this connected together. So I don't think it was ever an issue. Even if we did say something to someone else, we still knew that it was the right thing, or like they know it wasn't personal. So
yeah, I'd say pretty much the same thing relating to that. But also like for a captain, we want to like kind of like get our like lift our teammates up after a game. Like after a win, it's really important to like get them like energized so we like have momentum moving forward to the next game, and just like stay like upbeat and not just like kind of, I don't know, just lift everybody up, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, one interesting observation about your team, as for me as an outsider, was you guys seemed really tight knit, even off the court. Like I remember going to, obviously I coach girls. I went to a couple MC girls games. You guys were there, like as a team. Not every team, boys team, goes to a girls game, and you guys were there. And it wasn't that you guys were playing that night. It was like a playoff game or something. I thought that was really cool and notable. And does that come from your captains? Does that come from your coaches? Does that come from just all of you guys? How did you guys get to be so tight knit and just such a good culture team?
Well, I think our captains last year did a very good job of leading us and bringing everyone together.
Let's shout them out. Who were they?
Yeah, shout out Joe, shout out Quinn, shout out Dibble. But no, those three guys are just
Yeah.
all great dudes that everyone wants to be around. And so like, all it takes is like one text from them to be like, yo, let's go hang out. Let's go do something. But we all like, also it comes within the team. Like we all love, like Bentley said, we all love each other so much. Like we want to be around each other, but like extra motivation from the captains, like, people respect them, listen to them. So that always helps.
Yeah, I would just say like we're not really like I wouldn't think of us as a team. Like I think of us as like just like a friend group. Like we're all just like together. Like even if we weren't on the basketball team together, we wouldn't be as close, but we still all be friends and like we'll have to hang out with each other. So I'd say that's really important, and it obviously like translates onto the court.
Totally.
Everybody just like nobody's selfish. I see like Joe, like he could have 0 points and 15 assists and he would be like as happy as the guy who had 25. So I'd say that everybody just like, nobody is like worried about themselves. Nobody has an ego. So I'd say that's the most important thing for our team and to carry on next year.
Totally.
I agree. I think the captains did really good correlating events. Well, not even just events, just we always would text each other to hang out and we'd always find a way to see each other. Like every day, even on Sundays, or Saturdays, days we didn't have practice, like we'd see each other, I think every single day, basically. And during the season and before the season, we really saw each other every day, which made us extremely connected. But I think even before we played basketball, most of us were friends. Or like before high school, we were mostly friends, which is the best team chemistry you could possibly have. So
Totally. Okay, in game. How do you process coaches like Duffy barking instructions at you? Actually, Duffy's very quiet. I wish I was as quiet as Duffy when I coached. But how do you process coaches coaching you mid-game? And we've talked about this a lot with different coaches, with players, like because coaches have a tendency to kind of overcoach sometimes and talk too much. And as a player on the court, packed MC gym, it's probably hard to process your coach yelling at you while you're also trying to play the game. So how do you guys deal with that?
For me, I would just say like taking it lightly, not like as serious as it is in the moment. Cause I know like coaches just in general, it can always get really emotional during a game that's like close. So I'd say like if like a coach is like saying something like in a tone that's like really like kind of like rude or something, I say just take it with a grain of salt. Cause it's like emotions of the game. And I think like we players get that too. When we're like yelling at each other during game, we don't always mean it as much like with that tone as we do. But I'd also say just like, I don't know, making sure you like understand what he's saying, but also take it lightly is what I would say.
Yeah. I feel like we've been lucky enough to have coaches like that aren't like mean or like, it's not like my coach would tell me something and I like think that it's anything personal. Like it's easy to like understand the point of view where he's coming from. And I think it's nice, like you mentioned, like playing in a packed gym and it's maybe like you can't comprehend everything. It's nice to get pulled aside during like a free throw or a timeout or something and just like one-on-one talk for like 15, 20 seconds as opposed to getting yelled at like 30 feet across the gym and you can barely hear anything.
Right. Totally. Yeah. Last one on the games, and then we'll get to talk about your games. Also, I want to shout out, obviously, you guys played for Kevin and Duffy and Chris this year. Mike Saya had an incredible run at MC coach. He's a good friend of ours. We love Mike. And, also a very positive coach who did great things as well. But so how about timeouts? How do you guys deal with timeouts? Coaches give you some stuff in timeouts. I know Kevin is kind of tries to be minimal in his instruction and lets you guys play a lot, but do you process coaching in timeouts or are you just too tired? You're just trying to catch your breath?
Usually very zoned out. Like usually I don't process a whole lot of anything in timeouts. And then as we're walking back on the court, I'll have to ask one of my teammates to tell me what we're doing.
What are we running?
But, sometimes I'll be locked in during timeouts. But yeah.
I think Kevin gave us so many instructions pre-game or the scouting day before that he really wouldn't need to tell us much in timeouts. So I think most of the timeouts are player based and just telling each other what they needed to do. Cause if one person didn't know the scouting report, 4 others did, or on the one section of it. So everyone would keep each other accountable and Kevin really didn't need to.
That's great.
Yeah. I'd say just like most of the time in timeouts, we're kind of like listening to each other more than like coach. Coach doesn't really like I think he trusts in us that we know what we're doing. And I think sometimes it's mainly just for maybe like catching your breath, or also like people like on the bench to kind of like just like get you like hyped up or tell you what to do. And I think it's more for the players, like just talking to each other, communicating, and making sure we know like what we should be doing, and just kind of like that. So yeah.
Perfect. This is all good guidance. So basically, I should say less during timeouts.
Well, sometimes, the coaches walk out on the court to talk to each other, not knowing what they're going to say to each other, and just hoping the players will figure it out on the sideline. So there's that as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Bentley, starting with you. Give us an NBA avatar of Bentley Morrow. Who?
And describe your game a little bit. Describe your game a little bit and an avatar.
I think I'm pretty unique for a high school player. I think
How tall are you, first of all?
6'4". I'm a 6'4", like point guard that kind of played next to Joe, which was a little different. But I think that I see the court as good as anyone can. And playmaking, that's mostly my strengths. My playmaking, my IQ, and my defense ability. So that's kind of what I focus on.
Give us an NBA avatar.
Oh, avatar.
I've got one in mind, but I want to hear yours.
I was thinking, probably like a less athletic Stephon Castle.
Okay, better. Your hair is not nearly as good as Stephon Castle.
I wouldn't say that. Yeah.
I was thinking Franz Wagner.
No, educated.
Bentley also really good with both hands, and like even though right-handed, very good finishing with the left and passing with the left as well, and then can defend pretty much 1 through 5, depending on how elite the 1 or 5 might be.
Okay, Ollie.
For me personally, I would say like a mix of like maybe like Duncan Robinson, like catch and shoot sort of thing, and then maybe like Devin Booker, like mid-range pull-ups, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
I like it. It's a good. I think those are accurate. Ollie's sprinting to the corner, shooting threes, but then you're a great defender as well. I mean, all of you guys play D really well. You're all athletic. That's a good mix. Duffy.
Also, really good offensive rebounder, and even though not super fast, very quick to spot on the floor. Like beats his man to the spot on the floor, like just by knowing where they're going to go.
Like his man Con Knipple. All right, I'm excited for this one. Jack, who's your NBA avatar?
I'd say probably like maybe Paul George is one I like.
That's a good one. PG.
It's a little like
Also a good podcaster, by the way, Jack.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm an all-star yet, but I'd say my game is kind of just like a wing who can like shoot, drive, and it's like I could like block shots well. Yeah, I think just the main part of my game is just like the ability to like slash and also like shoot. So.
And how tall are you, Jack?
Probably like 6'3.5", 6'3".
Okay. Ollie?
Like 6 foot.
6 foot?
Yeah.
On your tippy toes?
With my hair.
With your hair, wearing platform boots?
Yeah.
I got to add something in on Jack as well. Gets like the first step into the paint is so fast, but also just glides. The ability to like attack a closeout, get into the paint at ease, it would seem.
Okay, so give us the most memorable game you've played in. Jack, you start.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'd say it's one from this last year. I'd probably say the university game and the championship at Van Bauer.
I mean, that was one of the best games I've ever seen. Any level.
I'd just say that one was so memorable because I think we all went into the game like knowing that it was like this was like a big thing for us because the university the past like couple of years had like beat us in our own tournament, and I think we all knew that like we had to come in and just kind of like punch them in the nose and play really well. And I think we knew we could do it. We just had to believe. And then when we came in, I think it was just like we were all just kind of like on fire, and it just like was just like a great feeling to go out and beat them as like the underdogs and losing the past couple of years. So I'd say that's probably the most memorable game.
So I'll put you on the spot, Jack. Do you remember the final score of that game?
96-95.
Yeah, in a high school, 32-minute. Well, actually, it went into overtime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
All right, so 35 minutes, 36 minutes of basketball. 96-95. That was an unbelievable game. Okay, Bentley, go.
I would say, I mean, like the Baumauer one is very special because I think that was our first one ever in the in our own tournament, and now that that's not continuing, that's going to be something to hold on to.
Yeah.
But I think to give another answer, it's got to be the MCAL final because the amount of pressure we all had as a team. Kevin wanted us all to delete social media because he knew that there would be predictions and all that. But we knew that we were the most well-rounded team, and to get all the way to that point with the team we had and not win it would have sucked. So to make it all come into fruition, like, it was amazing.
All right, so set the stage a little bit. I was there. It's awesome. Who'd you guys play?
Branson.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened the prior times that you guys played Branson? Or how many times did you guys play Branson earlier?
Once.
Yeah.
Yeah, once.
And what happened?
It was a comeback with 3 minutes left. We were down by, I don't know, 8. Wait, was it 8?
Yeah.
3 minutes left.
That was a crazy game at College of Marin, and you guys.
Yeah, that was a huge game when it came to seeding, because if we lost that, we would have been the 4 seed. So
yeah,
that was the difference between the 1 and the 4. But that was a great game.
That was a great game. And then you guys took care of business in the MCAL final. You beat them handily.
Yeah.
That was a great game.
Helped with Jack having Jack.
That's
back.
right.
Yeah.
Jack had a great game. That was a lot of fun to be there. The Redwood Gym playoffs is always fun.
Yeah.
Okay, Ollie.
Mine is like literally a mix of both of theirs. Like, I think MCAL championship is like something that I would for sure remember forever, but the university game and the Bambauer championship was probably the most like intense and exciting game I've ever been a part of. And so that one, like, I don't know, like, even though MCAL championship is such like, it's a bigger thing, like the university game just like felt more like meaningful. Like, maybe not meaningful, but like exciting and everything. So.
Yeah. So talk about playing in the open division in NCS. I mean, that was, so like getting an open bid does not happen every year in Marin, right? There are very few teams that do it. You guys did it. Doherty Valley was your first game, right?
Yeah.
And that was a great game. I was there. That was awesome. Really fun to watch. Did you feel more pressure in that game? Even though you knew in NCS, even if you lose, you're going to advance to NorCal. But what was that like playing in the open division against a team like that?
Well, I thought it was a great opportunity, and it reflected how well we played all season, like the fact that we got into open, and not many Marin teams have done that. Especially like for me, and I'm sure for everyone else, like we didn't feel any more pressure going into that game. We treated it as like a normal playoff game. We thought that we were better than them, and we had a bad stretch in like the second quarter, I think. But
yeah,
I mean, other than that, it was a great opportunity to be a part of, and something we hope to be back next year.
Totally.
So the open division, it was really special because, I mean, I think that university game also helped us put us over the edge to get in. But yeah, I mean, we started off pretty slow, and it was a different team than we played all year. They didn't really have a big man, so we'd have our guards guard like a really, like, everyone is like a shorter, faster player. So when we switched to our 5 guards in the second half, that really made us come back. And even before the game, we didn't feel pressure. I mean, I didn't feel pressure at all. I just, I don't really feel.
Was it weird, Jack? I mean, I'll ask you this one. Was it weird playing a team like that where they really didn't shoot a lot of threes? They probably shot 10 threes all game. Is that fair?
Well, that was their strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is rare in today's game to play against a team like that where they were really focused on the mid-range, getting the ball to the basket. Like, was that strange for you guys to play a team with that strategy?
I mean, yeah, I think it was strange because all season we play teams who would just rain threes like we do. And I think that game, like, I think coming into it, I don't think any of us thought of it as like a gift that we were in the thing. I think it was just all hard work, and I knew we all thought we were supposed to be there and deserved to be there. And then I think going into the game, it felt like more like scrappy, I guess, than like a normal game would. Like, the energy was just like different, even though they had like smaller guys. It just like felt different. Everybody was like just like pushing each other, and it was just physical. I mean, I would just say that's a different way a team plays than any other team we played the whole season. It's they played scrappy, and just like I think we fell apart and whatever. I think they went on a run maybe the second quarter, and we kind of fell apart. And I think it kind of got pushed way too far to the point where we like just couldn't come back. So I'd say we just got to learn from that game. Next time, maybe if we're in it this year, come back more physical and more, I guess, ready for that.
When you're in it this year.
Yeah, when we're in it.
Well, we talked about it before, like there's an adjustment from the MCAL and the way it's officiated, where there's a lot more touch fouls that are called, to going and having a game in open division, or another division for that matter, where you have officials from a different region. And that was a bit of an adjustment. And that was a very tough physical team. And it took a little while to match that. I'll just say, like, my impression was the energy in the gym for an open division game at MC was less than a bunch of other games during the regular season. And I think we've seen that before. You get out of the league season, people go away on, winter break or on ski week break, and you don't get the same sort of crowd. Well, we wanted to transition now, talk a little bit about a process that the three of you are going through, and you're all interested in playing at the next level in college, and specifically in playing most likely small college basketball. So we want to talk to you a little bit about, that process, starting with the question of, I'll start with Jack and go around, like what drives you to consider playing at the next level in college?
Well, I think it's mainly just like the work that I think we all put in. I think we just want to not have our high school career be like the last time we play basketball. I think we want to carry that into college and play at the next level. I know it's like very challenging to do that. And it's also just like a thing I think we all know we're able to, we have the skill. And it's just like, I also want to go to a school where it's like great academics, and I'm also going to be set up for after college. So I think DIII was the right choice for me, because that's what it sets you up for. Job after college, stuff like that. And you also get to play a style of basketball that's not D1, where it's just maybe one guy is like the star of the team. I think everybody plays a similar way to like how we play. It's like kind of just like moving, cutting, driving. It's like sharing the ball. And I think that's probably what drove me in D3 the most.
I always saw myself going to a really big school, but like, even if any of us like did end up trying to play Division I ball, like we'd have to go 3 years to even touch the court. Like, I don't think it's worth it to sit on the bench for as long as we'd have to. And for D3, I feel like our opportunity to play is bigger. Like Jack said, academics would be really good with not many people are willing to go to smaller schools like that who can set you up after college. But yeah, I've played basketball my whole life. I played with amazing players, and I just don't think I'd want it to end this soon. And I just don't see how my life would be without playing basketball.
Yeah, similar to Jack and Bentley, like I just like really enjoy playing basketball, and it takes up a lot of my life, and it's something that I want to continue doing for the next 4 years, just because of how much I enjoy it and like the friendships I make out of it and people I meet. And then also with Division III, it's like, it gives you the ticket, if the coaches want you to get into an amazing school with great academics, great people to surround yourself with, all the opportunities outside of college, the internships it could set you up with, like really everything is just a great opportunity. So yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I'm excited for you guys. I think it's a great strategy for you. We've talked a lot over our couple years of doing this with former players, coaches about, there's this ethos that you got to play D1, right? It's D1 or bust, that old thing. And we've talked to so many people who said that's not the right mindset. And, Bentley, I think you said it really well that, look, you all could probably make a D1 roster, but is that the right school for you? And, are you going to get playing time? And there's a lot that goes into it. So I wish you luck with the process. We're excited to see how it plays out. We're first of all excited to see you guys play your senior year at NMC. Okay. How about club basketball? Talking about recruiting. We're in club basketball season right now. I was just in Roseville at the Roland Center coaching all weekend. How do you guys like club basketball? Talk about the good, the bad, the ugly of club.
I would just say, like, me personally going into it, I just feel like it's a way different style than high school basketball is. You have like all these guys who are like the best players from each of their schools all on one team. So I think it's just a thing where, on this team, like, you're not going to have like, it's not like me, Ollie, and Bentley are going to be the ones taking all the shots or doing this and that. It's like everybody can do everything on this team. So I'd say it's like knowing like you got to share the ball. You got to like play to other people's strengths. You got to get to know people and stuff like that. And I think AAU is also just like generally a different style of basketball than high school. It's more like fast paced with less like defense and planning. You don't run that many plays. So I don't know. I would say I like club basketball so far. I think the coaches, Randy and Jason, are great. And I also like the people on the team. They're all from the Bay Area. So I think we all know each other before, and it's easy to play together.
That's great. So when you're playing in a game, like we got some open periods coming up here, right, where there are going to be college coaches in the gym. What are you focused on as you approach a game and you know college coaches are watching you? Do you want to knock down shots? Do you want to take a charge? What do you want coaches to see?
I think coaches, like college level coaches, know that whatever they see in AAU, it isn't really like whoever scores the most points. Like if I have 30 points, it's not really like, oh, that's your ticket. I think it's just they want to see people who play like team basketball and know how to play the right way. And I think they evaluate based on that. Like if someone has 30 points compared to us and like didn't do anything on defense or didn't like pass the ball, it's like what looks way worse than someone who played team basketball, got their teammates involved and like got them open while also making themselves look good, and that makes themselves look good in the process. So
I'd say it's a wake-up call, definitely. I mean, the first, like, especially in high school, like, before, eighth grade and below, it was definitely, like, more of, like, a fun environment where I felt like I was on the court the whole time.
Yeah.
But when you get to high school, after my freshman year especially, I mean, I felt like I had a really good freshman year, but then you get to play on a really good circuit team, and it's like, you're not just the only one, like, at your level. And I'm like, and there's a bunch of people that can play it better than you, and it's way different than what you expect going into it. And this year I decided to go a different direction, playing with Jack and Ollie and playing for Coach Randy and Coach Jason. And I feel like they will help lead me to the colleges that I'm looking for, and they have great connections and stuff like that. But like Jack said, it's still, even though I'm playing for a different circuit, like with other players from around here, it's still really good players that you wouldn't really expect, but everyone on the team can play. So I think that really changes your perspective on how much you can shoot the ball and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think in general for me, my experience with the AAU has been like, you'll see a lot of guys on a lot of teams playing like selfish individual ISO basketball, and that's frustrating, and that's not something I want to be a part of. And I think that we've been lucky with Bay City this year. We've gotten teammates and coaches that like, we care about winning more than we care about like our individual stats, which has been really nice. And I also think that our team this year and the coaches we have like set us up great for like pursuing this D3 level path. I mean, these coaches have great connections. They know the camps you should go to. They know the emails you should send. They they've gone through this with their players for many years now. So it's great, like being able to look up to them and looking for advice from them.
That's great. Yeah. So picking up on that, so talk through the process. Like now you are in the spring of your junior year, you're going to be seniors. You've started to do emails to coaches. So walk us through like where you are in the process. You've reached out to coaches. You plan to go to some camps. Are you doing highlight tapes? Like, just where are you in the process? We'll start with Jack.
Well, I've sent out probably about like 20 emails to like coaches, mainly from the East Coast, like that NESCAC region. So I'd say right now in the process, I'm just trying to talk to as many coaches as possible and like get on their radar, opposed to like trying to like really rush it. I want to go to like a couple of East Coast like camps and then one down here. So I'm just trying to get on coaches' radar and make sure like they know that I'm going to be there and are able to see me. And also like going to these live periods is great because there's coaches from around here going up to those, and you get to meet them in person. And maybe even like if it's a school from say LA, you can go and like see it and talk to the coach in person. And I think that's great just to start to talk to coaches in general. So
one point of clarification, the email's coming from you, right? It's not coming from your parents.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good. I've heard a lot from coaches that they really like it when players advocate for themselves and send their own emails. So that's awesome that you're doing that. Good.
I haven't sent out any emails yet. I'm hoping to do that like within the next few weeks, but most of my college coach connections have came from either Twitter or my like coaches that like through AAU, like
Yeah.
Jason's recommended me for Coach SI, and this Coach Joel, it's another AAU coach in the East Bay, has set me up with a few colleges. So that's where my college like recruiting has started so far, but I'm definitely trying to send out a bunch of emails sooner than later before
Cool.
live periods.
And by the way, that's club basketball. We could have a whole 7-hour conversation about club basketball, but that's a big part of the selling point of different programs, right? Is that the connection that the coaches have with college coaches and the networking and so that's a great way to go about it, is play for a really good club coach who will introduce you to coaches that he trusts in the college system. Ollie.
For me, I think about a month and a half ago, I started sending out emails, and my dad's helped me a lot with this process. And I sent out about 40 emails just to a bunch of coaches, just because I want to keep as many options open as possible and create the most opportunities as possible. And about half of those, a little bit less than half of those coaches responded. And then last weekend, I sent follow-up emails to both categories, the coaches that did respond and the coaches that didn't respond, just updating them with my spring and summer schedule and just trying to play in front of them as many times as possible.
That's great. I was going to ask what your response rate was on your emails.
Yeah.
So what are coaches saying when they write back, hey, thanks for your interest, keep working hard, or send me more video, or?
Yeah. So some of them are more interested than others, and you can definitely tell. I've gotten some that are like, we love your film. We love how you do this. They'll mention specific things that you know that they definitely watched my video, because I'll send a highlight reel in my email. And then you have other, and like, they'll be like, we want to see you play in front of us. Like, we want you here or whatever.
Yeah.
Please tell us your schedule coming up. And then you'll have other coaches that'll respond. Like, I got one email in response that was clearly from ChatGPT, like the format and everything, just telling me to like come to their like quote unquote elite camp where you have to pay like $200 for. And it's like, okay, I know that this is like not, they're not being genuine. This is not something that I would want to pursue.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Do you have anyone asking for a full game tape? Is that something that they've requested from you?
I haven't gotten that yet in specific, but I do have 2 games lined up just in case that they do ask.
So throw out a plug for listen to our interview with Spencer Spivey, which we did a couple months ago. He played at Williams and did a documentary about playing D3 basketball. So we interviewed him. He's a university guy. He played for Randy Beslow at University, but he was a really good player. Bentley, echoes of you, kind of. I think he's 6'6". So you'll get there in a couple weeks. Yeah. But he's a shooter, and he was looking at, Ivy League or maybe like high academic D1s, and ended up going to D3 and had a great experience at Williams. But it's a cool discussion about D3 basketball and the recruiting process and everything. Okay. What's the best advice you would give a sophomore who's about to start this process of the recruiting world? What have you learned so far?
An incoming sophomore?
Yeah, like someone a year behind you. If you could give Bentley a year ago advice, what would you do about how to approach recruiting, all this stuff?
I mean, I know what I would do if I was going into my sophomore year. I don't know what I would change going in previous year, but if I was going into my sophomore year, I would mostly focus on strength training. Like, that is the biggest thing that will. Because if you're trying to go to where, coaches won't really look at you unless you're a high major D1 player or mid-major D1 player until your junior, senior year. So I would just focus on getting better. I don't think AAU matters as much unless you really are as good as you think you are. And I think you don't want to play on a major circuit team until if I was 17U, because I really didn't see any coaches at any 16U games unless obviously you're UIBL or 3SSB. So I would just focus on getting as good as you possibly can while maintaining, like, you are in front of scouts that will keep your name out there, but you don't want to focus that as your main priority.
That's really good advice. Did all 3 of you play varsity as freshmen?
I was on JV.
You were on JV?
Yeah, at Branson.
All right. Then you transferred in.
Yeah, Hollywood.
Bentley, were you varsity as a freshman?
Yes.
And all you were. So in hindsight, Jack, I think that's a great path, right? To start JV, and obviously Branson had a really good JV team.
Yeah.
Tons of talent. Ultimately, was that a good thing for you think?
Yeah, I'd say it was a good thing just because, like, the varsity team at that time was, like, I think I could have been on it, but I don't think it would have really benefited me to be practicing with those guys.
TT, Jace.
Like that at that high D1 level.
Yeah.
And me as just, like, freshman, not very, like, I guess I'm just not on that level. I'd say playing JV was good because I got to actually play in games at the high school level. And I had, like, a couple guys on my team who were also, like, could have been varsity level players at that time, but we just, like, well, it was just better for us to develop on JV and get used to high school basketball. So I would say that if I could go back, I wouldn't change me being on varsity compared to being on JV because I think it was just great for me to learn how high school basketball works and get used to the physicality and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, there's a different answer for every player in terms of that, dynamic, whether it's going to be good for their development. So we're going to steal from our friend Dan Krikorian and Slapping Glass. Start, sub, sit, and we can do that because we had him on the podcast. So I'm going to give you 3 options. You're going to start one, you're going to sub, and you're going to sit in terms of something you would maximize of your own game to help with your recruiting journey. And so number 1 is going to be stats, your own personal stats from the high school season. Number 2 is going to be your strength training, your fitness, like you mentioned, Bentley. And number 3 is going to be your skill, offensive skill, let's say. Start with you, Ollie.
Okay, this is hard. I would say, considering my build, I think for like a dude who's like 6'10", you maybe skill, you don't really need a crazy amount of skill to be highly recruited. I think for being like a undersized guard, I think skill would be number 1. I think like strength and like how you're built would be number 2, and I think stats would be number 3.
Okay.
For me, I would say for my build, like if Ollie's saying it like that, I'd say my strength is number 1. Wait, what was Ollie's second one? It was
Skill.
skill. Oh yeah, skill would be number 2 and stats number 3.
yeah, I'd say skill number 1, and then, like, strength and conditioning number 2, especially because we run a lot. So I'd say keeping your conditioning up is pretty important to play at the next level. And then stats, I'd say stats is 3 because it's like college coaches aren't really looking at whatever your stats from the high school season when they're responding to emails or talking to you in person. I think they just want to see what type of player you are and like our understanding of different situations where some people don't get as many shots, and that doesn't mean certain players like better than someone else. It's just the stats.
And similar to that, like I don't think these coaches care like as much about if you average like 20 versus like 12 points a game, but it's more like how are you going to fit into my program? And I think you can fit into someone's program best by like being skilled and having good like physique and being strong.
Well, I was going to ask, in the conversations you've had with coaches to date, like up to this point, do you find that they're recruiting it's kind of like what we talk about in the NFL draft, right? Do you draft for need, or do you draft just the best player that's available? Do you find, are they trying just to recruit the best players, or are they trying to recruit specifically for their need on their team?
I think they're trying to recruit for like specifically their
What
need
their
on
team
their
needs.
team. Like they need a 17-man roster, whatever it is, and we're just trying to get the guys who will fit the best together because, in my opinion, that's what makes the best team.
Got it.
Yeah, when I've talked to coaches, they've said like a guy can be the best player they've ever seen, and if he doesn't mix well with the whole team, he shouldn't be on it because it's like a whole team that's going to win you a national championship, not just like one player. And if one player is like toxic or has an ego, it's like that's not going to work. They're always going to take the guy who meshes well with the team and is like just like appreciates everybody on the team than the guy who has a big ego. So yeah.
I would have to slightly disagree with like what they both said about fit. Like, I mean, even at the D3 level, I see so many commitments by the colleges that I'm talking to. Like, I look on Instagram, they have a JUCO transfer, and then they have people transferring out that I'm talking to, and it's just like, how do you know what fit until you really have the full roster? So I think that the player means more than the fit at this point in time. So.
Yeah, I think it's some coaches it probably varies by coaches too, right? Like how they want to put together their program.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So highlight tapes. I think we've talked about this a little bit, but how do you guys go about creating highlight tapes? Do you use Huddle? Do you use YouTube and CapCut? What do you do? I'm an old guy. I don't know all this.
Well, you can like on Huddle, there's a setting that you can go to My Moments and it'll show you like all of your like plays where you have recorded stats in it. And so it's easy to get like when you scored, when you've gotten steals, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so you can just clip those from Huddle. And then my dad helped me with this. He did most of the work, to be honest with you. But he was able to put that together into like a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And so my highlight reel is on YouTube, but everything's from Huddle.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good tool.
Mine sounded a little bit more difficult than that. I didn't know that was like part of the tool, like going into the stats.
That's why we're doing this, Bentley, so you can learn.
Yeah, I kind of went into every individual game and then clipped it from there. But they still do have the moments and stuff from every game that you would mostly like be able to see. Some they won't have up on there, but
Okay, so Bentley, as you're doing this,
Yeah.
and Ollie too for you, and then Jack, I want to hear how you approach this. But what are you clipping? Are you clipping buckets? Are you clipping defensive rotations? Are you clipping box outs, diving on the floor? What are you focused on?
I'm clipping like what most fits me as the player, like what I most am good at and what I mostly do. So
Yeah.
that's mostly what I clip, like getting other people open, being able to post up, hit other people, get everybody involved, and stuff on defensive blocks and all that. So
And then hitting big shots in the last 2 minutes of the game?
yeah, sometimes.
All the time. All right, Jack, how about you? What are you clipping? Or how do you go about it? Do you using Huddle?
Yeah, I use Huddle. I do the same thing as always. Just look at like my highlights and clip them and then put them in a thing. I don't post it on YouTube though. I just take it out and then like have it downloaded and then send it out. But in terms of what I'm like highlighting, I'd say it's more just like I have like certain like sections that I'll show. Like maybe like the first minute or first like 2 minutes is like me shooting threes and shooting. And then like I go like shooting, slashing, rebounding, and then maybe like defensive like blocks and then like assists. I'll do it kind of by section. And then, yeah, I just kind of want to like spread it out and make sure they know I can like do a lot of things on the court, not just like specifically like shooting threes.
That's great.
You know, a lot of these schools have camps where they'll invite you down and just for a weekend or whatever, and you get to play with them. And I think Bentley and Ollie, you've done this already, maybe Jack as well. Tell me about your preparation for that. If you're going down, you're meeting with the coach, and then you're going to just play with some other players. You may not know any of them. What's your mindset? I'll start with Ollie.
Well, I prepare for it like how I do any game or any just like workout or anything. I try my best to get good sleep before, and then just like stretch before I get there, warm up how I usually do, shoot how I usually do, but just also like, tell myself a little bit like, I'm here to like see how this school would fit for me and like if I like it, but also like I'm here to promote myself. Like I'm not going to be super like laid back or like passive or whatever. Like I'm here to like show these coaches like, who I am, and I want them to know who I am. And so like I'm going to put 100% into everything. I'm not going to like shy away from the moment. I'm going to do what I need to do to like let these coaches kind of understand who I am.
The camps and certain tournaments you're talking about, like when you travel, you're usually going up a couple days before, which you're not usually too familiar with the area. So you kind of have to find other ways to work out and stay your game, like keep my handles tight or something like that, or be able to lift. So you have to find other ways than like the last camp I went to, like the night before, I was staying up like pretty late just in the hotel of the gym, just trying to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of how I prepared. I obviously know that going to these type of camps, you're not going to find the most selfless players. So you kind of have to figure out a way to I don't know. I kind of am more passive player, so it's kind of hard to be more of a ball hog in those situations, but yeah.
Me personally, I haven't gone to any camps yet, but I would just say like I've had conversation with coaches about camps, and I'd say their main point is like the camps aren't like, it's not the main point where they see you and like view you as a player. It's just like a first kind of like interview or first like look at you. I would say like the coaches have been very real with saying like they're not going to get like a great or like a spectacular idea of you just from the camp. They want to see you play with your high school team and play in a sort of rhythm. And I think they're very understanding of that. So when I'm going to these camps, I'm not trying to like over stress about, oh, did I miss this shot? Did I do this wrong? I think it's just like more important for me to put my like name on the map, I guess, for these coaches. And then like they'll see me say at section 7 playing with my team and when we're all playing together. So, and also just being like, it's hard at these camps, like when I'm going into it, not to be like passive. I don't want to be really passive, but I also don't want to be a selfish player, because I know like me personally, I don't want a selfish player on my team. I don't want a guy who's taking a bunch of shots, and I don't want to be that guy. So I think it's just like finding that mix.
I mean, this is always a tough topic of how do you approach those situations where you're there because you want to show coaches what you can do, but you're on the court with a bunch of guys who are not passing the ball. So how do you approach that? I don't know what the right answer is. I can tell you that coaches definitely look at body language, right? And they look at attitude and energy on the bench and all that stuff. And you guys all know that. And you three are all great at that. But that's always tough. And we've talked to Jake Vasquez about it, talked to Carly Amborn about it, it's hard, particularly at those high levels when people are not sharing the ball. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Where did my mind go, Dave? I had a question in mind.
You're just brilliant.
So, I know. Have the coaches yet started to ask you and talk about grades? Is that something? Because when we talked to Mike Turner and Brock Winter, this is the first episode of our season 2, when they were talking about recruiting, that was one of the things that Brock said, like grades, like the coaches are going to ask about that. Is that a conversation that you bring up, or you wait to be asked, or maybe you're not there yet? We'll start with Ollie.
Well, in the email I sent them originally, in my subject line, I put my GPA in it because I think it's attractive. Like, I think at like a D3 school, like coaches would see that and be like, oh, okay, like I think he has the grades that would fit our school.
Yeah.
And then I have been asked by a couple of schools to send my transcript, just like my entire high school transcript. Yeah, that's all it's gotten to. I've never gotten anything like, oh, your grades aren't good enough to play here, or your grades are like amazing for our school, but I've sent my transcript to a couple of schools.
Pretty much every college that I've talked to that's texted me, usually the first part of the conversation starts with the transcript. Because why waste each other's time if especially when it comes to an SCAT or one of those type of schools, they're not going to waste your time if you're way too low. Because yes, they can maneuver their way in with a certain amount of GPA, but they can't do everything in their power to get you in for the school, for D3 especially.
Yeah, like talking to coaches when I emailed them and like when I talk to them in person, like I set my GPA in my email. So I'd say like that's one of the most important things, because like I think your GPA kind of like, it doesn't like define you, but it kind of tells a story. If they look at it and see you have good grades and are good in class, they're going to know what type of person you are, and you're like a hard worker, and not only in school, but also on the court and with like a team. So I think that's pretty important for all these coaches at the D3 level.
Super important. All right. So fast forwarding in life, you're going to go to job interviews. You're going to be interviewed just like this, but more stressful. This is fun. At the end of the interviewer will always ask you, okay, do you have any questions for me? So you guys are going to start, if you haven't already, start meeting with some college coaches, right? And they're going to tell you all about their program, but then they're going to give you the chance to ask some questions. So what questions would you want to ask a college coach when you're sitting down with him for the first time?
Me personally, I would ask them,
how many shots am I going to get? No, I'm just kidding.
I would ask them if I could speak to like a current player playing under them and just get a feel for like how they like the team, how they like the school, how this like playing at that school has kind of changed their life, and if they're grateful they did it, or if they think that I should take a different route. And I think it's like I could see myself best in a player's perspective. Like a coach will tell me different things than a player can, but like obviously I'm more like a player on the team than I am like the coach. So I think that would help me get the greatest feel for like if I could actually see myself at the school.
Yep.
Me personally, when it comes to playing basketball in college, I'm trying to find the most schools that I would go to if it wasn't for basketball, like as much as I can, which is pretty hard, but there are a few options that get close to it. And that's usually the main focus I focus on in conversation. Another one, when I talked high academics, it's how much do you guys, or like, are you guys able to help a player get into the school? Because I mean, I don't want to focus all my time talking to a certain coach if he can't do as much as I need. So those are the two main things.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I usually just ask like what type of player they're looking for when they're recruiting, and also like if they could like describe their team in a certain way, like how they play, what would they describe it as? And like I'm usually kind of just looking for an answer of like all-around player who's like unselfish and like stuff like that. And then like when talking about like a team, I usually just like kind of look for a team that's like connected and moves the ball and kind of just like plays how we play at MC, moving the ball, like nobody's like playing selfish and stuff like that. So yeah.
Love it. Duff, do you have anything else on recruiting?
I do not, Dave. Should we get to go to crunch time?
I wanted to ask one question on practice and then
Okay.
Okay. Real quick, I'm curious, what, in your guys' view, is a great practice? What are your favorite kind of practices? Do you guys like small-sided games, 3-on-3, 2-on-2? Do you guys like scrimmaging? Do you guys like drills? Do you guys like shooting? What's a good practice for you? Ollie, you start.
I think every practice, you got to get a quick warm-up in. Duffy Dinos is always a great way to start.
What are Duffy Dinos?
Duffy Dinos are
Dynamic?
well, it's you got the ball in your hands. And
Okay.
They're not actually. I didn't invent this. We saw this at Stanford actually.
Okay.
And you're paired up and you're doing like a long oval circle around the court and you're just throwing the ball back and forth. Start with the right hand to right hand, left hand to left hand, behind the back, bounce pass, and you just got the ball in your hand as you're running around.
I like
But
it.
usually they're trying to talk and they're not paying attention and they get distracted.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Then Kevin butts in and he does more traditional things.
Boo.
Vasquez ended up calling the third one Ollie Dinos because he didn't like the first two options. So, yeah.
He has his own.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
right,
We
so-
have many different warm-ups.
A lot of different dinos. All right, we start with Duffy Dinos. Then what do
After
we do?
that, I like doing like 30 minutes to 45 minutes of skills work, get shots up, maybe
Yep.
some dribbling. We did a lot of shooting, obviously, in practice. And then if we have a game or anything, we can scout a little bit, go through the other team's plays or tendencies. And then I like 20-ish minutes of like competition in the sense that it's like a 3-on-2 fast, continuous drills like that.
Yep.
And then it's always great to end practice with like 30, 40 minutes of playing 5-on-5 full court.
Sounds like a good one. Go, Bentley. Any edits to that practice plan?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I like what Ollie said about the competition. I like playing a lot of competition, but I mean, we usually would start off with TV1 drill. So we would because we weren't as efficient. Like we were efficient going very fast down the court, but sometimes we wouldn't convert on our opportunities to go 2-on-1. So we focus on that a lot in practice to start.
Yep.
So that would be one of the first drills we do. Another one I'd like is 3-on-2, 2-on, or it was just 3-on-2, and then you'd have to touch center court. But that's another one that really affected our game because
3-on-2 continuous.
Yeah,
It's a great drill.
and that's like kind of highlighted us, especially when as fast as you play, you only get that much time. Like someone touching half court in that short amount of time, because I mean Joe's going to be his man obviously down the court, so that's another way to highlight it. But then we'd usually go 4-on-4, 5-on-5, just drills like that. Just anything with competition I really like, and skills work, as Ollie always has said. So
Before we let Jack go, I just want to comment in watching the whole season of the 3v2 continuous, probably about 80% of the shots taken in that drill were 3-pointers, many of them from the corner. And the shooting percentage was roughly 50%, but there were not many layups in that drill. It was a quick to shooter and up it went.
Welcome to 2026.
For practice, I'd probably say I like to start with just like normal dinos, just stretching out. And then I
So
usually
does that mean no Duffy dinos?
I don't know.
That was shots fired on Duffy.
Sometimes I have Duffy dinos. Yeah, sometimes I have Duffy dinos. I'm not very stretched out, but I'd say just like starting with that like 2-on-1 is a good drill because you kind of get like moving and just like moving the ball and stuff. And then shooting is great because it's like always prepares you for the games if we have like, a game the next day. And then I'd say like I love playing in practice, just like in general, like. You play with your team against other teams the whole season, but it's really great when you can compete against your own team and like see people like, oh, like the third group like is like winning all these games, like beats the first group. It's really good to like see competition between us in practice. I just say I like playing in a mix of shooting within that.
Awesome. Do any of you guys play pickup?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do you just open gym?
Open gym and Bay Club. Mostly,
Pickup.
yeah.
Okay. And is the pickup full court? You guys play half court?
Open gym is usually full court unless people aren't giving effort and people are tired, but usually full court. And then when I go to Bay Club, it's half court.
Okay. And do you find pickup helps you?
It depends who you're playing with. And I think sometimes when you play pickup, you're playing with guys who just try to be nonchalant and, you know, or being like selfish. And I think that's very frustrating and it doesn't make me better. But when you play with guys who are like hustling, you know, who care, who are good at basketball, I think that's extremely beneficial because it simulates a game.
For me, I usually play for open runs, either Bay Club, Dominican, or open gym. But
Great.
I think Bay Club, it's very hit or miss depending on who's there. You could have a bunch of like 50-year-old men who come after work and then they're just like,
Duffy and I aren't offended by this statement. Bentley, it's okay. Keep going.
They'll like either take it way too serious and they're really just not that good or they're very lazy. So those are usually the two options with that. Sometimes when a bunch of kids are there our age, it does get really competitive.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll all text each other to go to Bay Club, but I think Dominican, it's way less people that go there, but I find way more like people that are serious about the game there.
Are there some college players that play down there?
Not like with us, but I mean, usually like me, Joe, Luke Shapiro. Yeah. Sometimes we'll get like Elias from Salesian who's going to Stanford. Just people like that. We get as many people
Don't
as
hurt
we
him.
can.
Stanford, we need him.
That's
good.
Yeah, we try our best.
Okay.
And then, I mean, open gym is also very hit or miss. It's usually when Vasquez is in the room, it's way more serious, which I don't like. I feel like you should always take it serious, but
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also do just like open gym and Bay Club, and I'd say Bay Club is very off and on. Like you can show up one day and there'll be like 2 people in the gym and you can't really play, or there'll be like 15 and it's like you have to wait to get on the court and it's like competitive. So I'd say, and then there's like open gym. I like when open gym is like competitive, but you don't really want to have like too many people to the point where you're like not playing that much. So I'd say right now we have a good mix. We'll invite like people from other schools and we'll all get like good runs in, and
Nice.
So.
One more question about pickup. When you go to play pickup, do you decide ahead of time that you're going to work on a certain aspect of your game? Like, you know, today I'm going to like drive only, or I'm going to work on my step back 3. Is that something you ever do?
I have done that before, and I will do that every now and then, but usually I just want to play just to play and play to have fun, but also play to win and like go to my strengths.
I try not to go to my strengths usually in pickup. I try and work on as much as I can, but I mean, I'll sometimes like just focus on what I'm good at, but most of the time I try and do stuff that I'm not used to. But
I don't really like think about what I'm doing when I'm playing in like pickup. I just usually try and like mainly focus on just like defense, like always trying hard on defense. Like that's one thing you can do, but I like in terms of like offense, I don't really think about like my moves or anything before or like what I need to work on. I kind of just like play with the flow. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, we've reached crunch time. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah. Rapid fire questions. Been waiting your whole lives for this. Favorite gym other than MC?
Redwood because of size, not because of court or hoop or anything.
Because of lighting in Redwood.
Yeah, none of that. Just like I like playing in a packed out gym. So.
Yeah.
Playing in Redwood's there's no atmosphere like it that I've seen or been able to play in. So,
And MCAL titles, you're playing there.
it's definitely unique.
I'd maybe say Archie's gym. I think it's like a shooter's gym, and I don't know, like I think the court is like pretty good, and I don't know, like Redwood, it kind of has like a kind of slippery court, so I don't really like that all the time. So yeah.
Favorite drill?
Corner break threes.
I was gonna say, Ollie, if it's not a shooting drill, I'm gonna check your temperature.
I think that's a truthful answer.
So I've heard tale of this, Oliver, that there's a drill where you sprint from half court to the corner. This is the drill you're talking about, right?
Yes.
And you shoot threes. And you made, how many did he make, Duffy?
Well, I was not there, but I believe that it was 49 out of 50 on one occasion.
Yeah.
Not every time. Not every time. 49 out of 50. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, Bentley, before you roll your eyes, this didn't come from Oliver. This came from Kevin Vasquez.
No, yeah, he was rebounding.
Okay, corner break threes. Bentley, your favorite drill?
I don't really know specific drills. I don't know. Me and Joe during the season would just do our layups to floaters to threes to mid ranges. Like we do a certain amount of just.
So shooting the ball.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Just as much as I can just do my own stuff and work on my game. I don't know.
Totally. That's a good answer.
Next year it's gonna be shooting threes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it counts as drill, but just like 3-on-2 continuous.
Yes,
like,
that counts.
I just like playing, and I don't know, corner break shots. I be getting by the fifth rep, I'm like tired and can't really make that many. So, or I say just 3-on-2 continuous.
Okay. Jack, you're starting this one. Best player. Oh, Duff, do you have something?
Oh, I just was gonna note there no defensive drills were included.
No, this is Marin Catholic. Come on. We're just shooting the ball. Best player you've ever played against?
Ooh. I'd probably just say can I say practice?
Of course.
This one's tough. I'd say TT in open gym at Branson my freshman year probably. And probably in Jace too, all those guys. It was just another level of competition because those guys are all D1 dudes who are playing at the D1 level, and I think it was just kind of insane to see that level of athleticism and just skill.
Yep.
For me, when I was middle school, elementary school area, I was teammates with Tyron Stokes and Brandon McCoy.
Oh.
And those are probably the two best that I could think of.
Stokes is the best, one of the top ranked seniors in the country.
Yeah,
right?
he's number one right now.
Yeah.
Brandon's top.
He was at
10.
Prolific Prep for a bit, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, this isn't the best player I've played against, but just like Jack said in practice, being a freshman and sometimes having to guard Charles Williams was tough just because he's so fast and he's just a great all-around athlete. So that was difficult for me.
Good answer. Okay, Bentley, you're starting this one. You are the GM of an NBA franchise. Who's your coach and who's your... Every player in the NBA is a free agent. You could have one player to start your franchise. So who's your coach and who's your top player that you're starting with? We all have to answer this, by the way, but Bentley's going first.
Coach. I pick Victor Wembanyama, and honestly, whatever coach you do.
You don't even... I can coach that team and we'd be fine.
Honestly.
Yeah, okay. That's good answer. Ollie.
Coach, probably Joe Mazzulla and Wemby as well.
Okay.
I'll say, can I do any NBA player in their prime?
Sure.
I'll say 2016 Curry and Coach Quest.
Okay. Favorite class in school?
Currently, U.S. history.
Nice. Bentley didn't like it.
We're in the same class.
Yeah, we're in the same class.
AP U.S. history?
No, just normal.
Yeah, I mean, probably marine science or ceramics is pretty chill. Yeah, one of the two.
I'd say AP US history. That's probably my favorite class.
Nice. Okay, last. Oh, Duff, do you have
We got a penalty. Favorite CYO memory?
Ooh.
That was a loaded question.
Trying to think. I mean, probably winning the championship.
Yeah,
8th
Ollie,
grade.
come
Oh
on.
yeah, I mean, well, there was multiple championships.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
8th grade in specific, just because it was the last year, and being coached by Coach Duffy, Coach Tom Poser, some help from Coach Levine.
Can we throw out a Coach Tachiki
Yeah,
reference?
oh yes,
as well?
yes, of
Come on.
course.
Why is he bowing down?
Yeah, it was just like a special like
That was a great game.
eight-ish years, like whatever, however long I played CYO for, I felt like I grew a lot as a basketball player and made great connections with coaches and friends. And so like finishing it off 8th grade year with the championship was amazing.
Awesome.
For me, I mean, I didn't really have any championship experiences with St. Anselm's, but probably my favorite memory was probably dropping 38 at MC. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really have that
That's
many.
pretty good in a CYO game.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
A lot of threes, right?
Coach Chad,
That was a lot
Coach
of
Chad
threes.
Stewart's letting you shoot the ball.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, him and Todd Fitzgerald.
And Todd.
Yeah.
That's right.
I stopped playing in like 4th grade, but I'd say my last year was probably my favorite. I had like a lot of guys like that I knew on my team, even though we lost in the championship against like, I think it was the
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like a fun season, so yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Last and always most important question. Favorite restaurant?
In Marin, I would say Marinitas.
Good call.
I mean,
Place.
I go there probably like once or twice a year, but Benihana's is always fire.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Throw the shrimp in your hat.
yeah.
I'd say just like in Marin, Pizzalina is really good. Great pizza, so that's probably my favorite spot.
Beautiful. Duffy, anything else for our stellar roundtable?
No, but you guys, thank you for joining us. You are all well-spoken, and I think you're all going to have great experiences going through the recruiting process. And, of course, you're going to have an amazing senior year at MC. So thank you for your dedication to the game and for joining us today.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome job, guys. Good luck this year.
Thank you.
Okay. Nice job, boys. Can't thank Jack, Bentley, and Oliver enough for hanging with us. Great kids and a fun conversation. And again, nice work, Coach Duffy, lining that up. Wanted to once again plug sponsorship opportunities for the podcast for season 4. We're keeping it going. We're keeping it rolling. We've got some awesome interviews that we're angling to get for season 4. Already a few people have agreed. It's going to be another fun season of talking hoop, both Marin and outside Marin. And sometimes, you know, we throw you a curveball like Marin lately or Michael Pritchard or Dan Dibley, other stuff. Who knows? What else can we talk about? We shall see. But help us keep it going. Sponsorship opportunities are available. Reach out to us. Hit me up on Instagram at the Run TMC podcast. Go to our website. Email us. Send a carrier pigeon. Do whatever you need. Just don't, as the kids say, do too much. I get texts from my daughters all the time. Dad, DTM. Thanks again for all the support, people. Talk soon.
Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey, dude, you too must be from Marin."